But guess what? Charisma also has some useless perks. Oh boy, can't wait to go over them. At least there's actually some very useful perks, which can't wait to go over. So first we got Caps Collector. So this is basically if you don't want to increase your charisma, then you can take this perk if you want. This is just an alternative for low charisma builds. Um, I'd say it's kind of weak. It's not super important. You could just instead take a perk or a rank into charisma, which also increases, which is basically Caps Collector, but with 10 different ranks. So let's look at what it does. So buying and selling prices at vendors are better. Second rank, it's the same thing basically, but much better. And then the third rank, you can now invest a total of 500 caps to raise a store's buying capacity. I think this is also useful if you're into settlement building. So if you want to have vendors in your settlements, you could do that. But again, this is just kind of an optional perk. You could just instead put points into charisma, which is what I did on this character. So it's just a player preference thing. All right, so here comes the first useless charisma perk. Lady killer or men killer. I don't know. I don't know what the female alternative is, but I honestly forgot this perk even existed until I looked at it now. Um, 5% damage in combat, easier pursuing dialogue. Another 5%, even easier. And they are also easier to pacify with intimidation. Okay. That sounds cool. And then 5 more damage. So, honestly, like, Bloody Mess kind of outclasses it just because this also gives you 5% for each rank, except it's always 15%. It's not just like specifically against women or against men, depending on your character. So, unfortunately, I am gonna have to put this down here. There's just better options, so I will put this all the way up here just because I guess the increase in damage can be somewhat useful if you're playing as like a female. There are a lot more male boss boss characters to fight. For example, Kellogg, Skinny Malone, Brotherhood, Brotherhood enemies. You can stack that with Bloody Mess and do 30% more damage, but I don't know. I just don't like how inconsistent it is. I'd rather increase it for every single enemy. All right, so this is gonna be the second Overtune perk. Lone Wander. This is a very top tier perk. It does so much for one perk. So let's look at what it does. So what I like about this perk is that each rank does something different. So, or at least does a lot in each rank. So first rank, take 50% less damage. Carry weight increases by 50%, or not percent, but just by 50. So pretty already good right off the bat. 30% less damage, increased carrying by 100, but really that's basically 50% more, 50 carrying, 50 more carrying weight. I cannot speak. And then 25% more damage without a companion. That is a lot of damage. That is like taking one rank of rifleman and then 5% more. That can add up very very well. And in the last rank, 25 more action points. Action points is very good for VATS and for sprinting, of course. So yeah, very very solid perk indeed. Not as good as Rifleman, but it can do so much. Only disadvantage is that you cannot use companions, but you can use dog meat still, which is a bit strange. But yeah, speaking of dog meat, next we got Attack Dog, I think that's what it's called. It's basically the same thing as Lone Wanderer, except the increases you get are less than Lone Wanderer. It's still useful. What it does is that it holds an enemy, gives you increased hit chance, and that's pretty good. Cripple a limb while he's biting, pretty good too. Chance to heal bleed, and then you take 10% less damage. So you know, another fairly solid perk. Obviously not as good as Lone Wonder, but you could take this along with Lone Wonder and just be a freaking tank. So not too bad, but not as definitely not as strong as these other perks. But probably the best average perk. I don't know. We'll see. All right, so here comes more useless perks. Oh boy. So this is what is this? This is Animal Friend, I believe. Again, I forgot this perk existed until I looked at it. Let's see what it does. So commune with beasts with your gun, aim at an enemy or animal below your level, gain a chance to pacify. This is basically like using what is that? What is that spell called in Skyrim where you can like tame or calm your enemies? I think it's called calm. I don't know. I could be wrong, but it's basically that, but in Fallout. Um, I don't know. I guess if you're having trouble killing a mole rat, I guess you could pacify it and then let's see. You can command it to attack. You can give it specific commands. I guess that's like you can have them move to a certain spot or whatever. Uh yeah, I you should never take this perk. Honestly, I don't find this perk to be useful. It is a little bit better than probably all these perks, but I don't even know where I would put this. I guess I'd put it higher than all these for sure. All right. Next, we got local leader. I think this is mainly for settlement building, or no, this is for. I guess it could also be for settlement building, but it's also for your companions, so they deal more damage, cannot hurt you, resist more damage, can't be harmed by your attacks. So I guess you can accidentally kill your companions. I I, I don't know. I guess can carry more items. That could arguably be a little useful since that's kind of what I use my companions for. Sometimes is for them to carry my stuff. But at that point, you might as well just get Lone Wanderer or Strong Back. There's just better options for that, and you really shouldn't be relying on your companions to damage your enemies or to kill your enemies. You should be using them to get the little bonus you get from maxing out their infinity or for whatever little special ability they have. So, like for example, Kate, she can open locks. Nick Valentine can hack through terminals. So that would be that's the reason why I take companions is for little bonus perks. So I'm unfortunately I'm gonna have to put this down here too because I don't see myself getting this perk. It is a little bit better than the very useless perks, of course, but not by much. What the hell is that? What perk is that? Let's see. Oh, this is Party Boy. Okay. Okay, that's just the girl version. Okay, I know this perk. Oh man. This might seem very strange to you guys, but I'm gonna put this up here. I know this is a very weird choice, but I love this perk. Let's go over why. So first rank, no chance to get addiction to alcohol. So so it's just like chem resistant, except you only need one rank to be completely immune to the addiction. So that removes the risk factor basically. Effects of alcohol are doubled. There are a lot of very useful alcohol out in the world, such as bourbon, Dirty Wastelander, vodka, freaking so many useful alcohol out in the world, and then luck is increased by 3. So really, this can be used for any build. So even if you're a rifleman based character, you can get the 3rd rank, increase your luck, which will refill your meter a little bit faster. So yeah, bit of a hot take, I know. Putting it all the way up here, it really just completely changes your playstyle. Only disadvantage is that, of course, you will lose out in intelligence, but really that's no big deal. At least for me, it's not that much of that big of a deal. All right, so what in the hell is that? I don't even know what inspirational. Okay, because you lead by example, your companions. Wait, didn't I already look at that? Oh, I looked at the wrong one. I'm dumb. Okay, so local leader was the one I looked at before it, and I accidentally read off inspirational. So okay, so this one, what does this one do? You are able to establish supply lines between. Okay, build store. Okay, okay. This one is actually a little more useful. It's more convenient for settlement build. Okay, so this one I'm actually gonna put it a little bit higher. Let's see. I'll put it. I'll put it down here just because it really only applies to settlement building, but is also very convenient. This one. Okay. So this one is the freaking inspiration. Okay. So this one I okay, I accidentally read off that one. Okay. I'll just quickly put this one down here. Where did I have it at? I think I had this one right here. Okay. Sorry about that. I got I got very mixed up. It just goes to show how unfamiliar I am with most of these perks. Okay, so this one is Wasteland Whisperer. So this one is basically like Animal Friend, except a little bit better, just because you're able to tame Death Claws. So it's basically the same thing. Like it's literally carbon copy. So I guess this can be a little bit useful in the late game if you're going up against tougher enemies. But not by much though. Hmm. I don't know. I guess I could put this a little bit higher, but I never take this perk ever. I just much rather kill them for the XP and their loot. So there is that option. And I believe you also need this for Workshop DLC, so bit of a fun fact. And now for the very last charisma perk, this is Intimidation, so aim at any human opponent. This is basically just like Animal. Yeah, this is literally the same thing, except now you can do it to humans. So this one might arguably be a little bit better since you do encounter a lot more raiders. But again, it's not by much. I am gonna have to put this. I'll put it a little bit higher just because there is the occasional chance you could encounter gunners with very strong weapons. So I guess it can be useful, but I still would much rather kill them just for their loot. And actually, you know what? I'll put this down here too. I don't know why I put it up there in the first place. I'll just put it along with these other perks. All right, we are done with the charisma perks. Wow. So not as bad as endurance, but definitely a slog. So now we got intelligence. So finally we got some arguably useful perks, but there are still a couple of useless perks which I sadly have to go over, such as Vance. This is basically clairvoyance. I think that's how you say it, from Skyrim, except you now need a perk to get it for some reason. It's useless. You could get +2 perception if you get the second ring, but at that point you might as well just you can either take a mentats or put 2 points into perception. So plenty of alternatives there. Next we got medic and to me, a lot of people might think this is a good perk because oh, you can fully heal yourself just from a stim pack. So this is gonna be a bit of a hot take, but I'm gonna have to put this down here. Mainly because I have like 100 something stim packs in the character that I'm using for this playthrough. So honestly, you can just pop a bunch of stim packs consecutively and still have a ton left. You can also buy a bunch of stim packs out and from vendors. You can have a doctor cure you, or you can just take Life Giver or freaking Solar Power just for the health regeneration. So I don't know. It might be useful for you, but I don't find this to be useful just because in my playthroughs I always end up finding a ton of stim packs. Another thing that kind of annoys me a bit is that if you look at medic, each rank it increases the amount of health you restore by like I don't know 20% of each. So what they should have done is done like one like first rank could be up to half your health, and then the second rank could be all your health. So if they would have done that, it would have been better. So I don't know. That's just my opinion. All right, so next we got freaking. This is gun nut. So this is basically like blacksmith and armor, except you need this for a majority of your guns, such as your rifles, your shotguns. Very useful perk overall. Next we got hacker. Again, same thing as locksmith, except I prefer locksmith just because. Wait, I just realized this is pickpockets. I'm gonna put this a little bit lower, but I prefer locksmith over hacking because I suck at the hacking minigames, so I always take locksmith over that, but it essentially functions the same way. Next we got Scrapper, I believe. I think that's Scrapper. Let's see here. Yeah, Scrapper. So able to able to salvage uncommon components like screws, aluminum, copper. So pretty useful. Rare components like circuitry, nuclear material, and fiber optics. Items with favorited components are highlighted. And finally, you get more from salvaging. So it's more of a convenience perk. It's not really super useful, but I suppose it can. It can help if you don't know what to pick up, or if you're doing settlement building. Otherwise, you really don't need it if you know what you're picking up. So I'm gonna put this at niche. I'll put it. Let's see. Yeah, I'll just put it all the way down there. All right, this one is science, right? Let me double check. Yeah, science. Okay, this is a very good perk. So I think it's arguably better than gun nut, just because it's not only just for energy weapon mods, but it's also for power armor mods, for armor mods, for settlement building, really for a lot of things. So it's kind of important to take this perk. So not too bad. Finally, useful perk. It feels good to talk about a pretty useful perk. All right, what do we have next? We got chemist. So this is basically party boy, but for chems. So what it does is you gain access to craft other various chems at a chem station, and it also increases the time you use your chems. So I feel like the chems in general last a fairly long time already, but for some of the shorter burst chems like jet, that's like 15 seconds or 10 seconds. I don't know, it's a pretty short timer, but This will improve Jet a lot. So I don't think it's as good as Party Boy, but it is a fairly useful perk. So I will put it. Let's see, where do I want to put this? I think I'm gonna put it just below Demolition Expert. Actually, no. No, I'm gonna put it below. I'm gonna put it all the way down here actually. Excuse me. Next we got Robotics Expert. So this is once again another one of those like taming, pacifying perks, I guess. Except you can let's see what it does. So you can hack a robot. You can power or gain a chance to power it on and off, or initiate self destruct. So I guess that's cool. You can make it attack. Okay, yeah, it's basically like Animal Friend and Wasteland Whisperer before robots. So I guess if you're really having a hard time killing enemies from the Automatron DLC, this could be useful. I think you also need this to craft certain parts for your robot companions. So I guess it is somewhat useful. A little bit more useful than the pacifying perks, that's for sure. So I'm gonna still put it here though, just because again you're better off just killing the robots for parts and for where should I'll put it like I'll put it a little bit more ahead than Scrapper. All right, so next we got nuclear physicist. That yeah, that's how you pronounce it. I'm sure. So this is basically just like another weapon perk, except you do more radiation damage, and also fusion cores last a little bit longer, double damage, 50% longer, and you can also eject fusion cores from your power armor. So you can basically just drop bombs from from your power armor. So kind of a fun perk. But the thing with radiation weapons is that they're kind of weak against certain enemies. Like it doesn't. It's only really good against raiders or against gunners, basically human enemies. But any other enemy, like such as ghouls, super mutants, they are completely immune to radiation. So, but I think it's cool how it can also improve your power armor. So I will put it up here. And now the last intelligence perk we got Nerd Rage, and this is another perk that I forgot it existed just because I never take this perk. But let's see what it does. So when your health drops below 20%, time slows down 20% or 20 damage resistance and 20% more damage. So sounds pretty cool, right? 30 more resistance, 30 more damage, and same thing, more damage, more resistance, but each kill you get can restore health. So that might sound cool, but I don't know. It's just if you're a pro player, you shouldn't take this perk. If you're a new player, I guess you can take this perk. It might be a good early game perk to take in case you're dying a lot, or if you have very low endurance, very low health. You could take this perk if you want to, but I I never have the need to use it just because there are many ways to get the same effect, such as Jet or Medics. You can achieve similar results. Alright, so now we are moving on to agility. Higher the agility, the more freaking more action points you have, and I think I forgot to mention what intelligence is. It basically increases your XP. They're all very self-explanatory, so I don't know if I should have to explain what those do, but oh well. Anyways, we got Gunslinger, so another weapon perk. Except I think this is better than those perks, so I'll put it a little bit higher than Demolition Expert in the melee weapons. Let's look at what it does. So, first rank, just increase damage, increase range even further, disarm opponents, and cripple limbs. So, pretty good, pretty good. Next, we got Commando, and I'm not the biggest fan of automatic weapons. I have yet to really test them out to see if they're good or not, but I'm sure some people like automatic weapons, so this is a good perk for you. But let's see what it does. So, improved hipfire accuracy. Hipfire accuracy increased even more. Chance to stagger opponents and greater chance to stagger opponents. So just like what I said earlier about the hipfire or the steady aim, you can pretty much achieve similar results with commando or big guns. You can even get weapon mods that also increase or increase your hipfire accuracy. So that just even further proves my point of hipfire being useless. So next we got sneak, and this is a very very good perk. I'm gonna put it. Where should I put this? I'm gonna put it up here along with rooted, just because you're able to sneak better. You can. Let's look at what each point does. So 20% harder, 30% harder to attack, but you can no longer trigger floor-based traps. So that's basically like the little lasers that you see on the floor or the bear traps. Basically, what the floor-based traps are. Enemy mines. This is big because I jump every time I trigger those mines, so very convenient. And then this one, running no longer adversely affects stealth. Bit of a strange word, but pretty good. And also the last perk, engaging stealth, causes distant enemies to lose you. I don't think the last perk is super important, but you could take it if you want. But very good perk, very important for stealth-based builds. Honestly, feels great to talk about useful perks again after slogging through a bunch of terrible perks. Next we got Mr. Sandman. This is basically increased damage with your silence weapons, and you can also instantly kill an enemy with a knife when they're sleeping. So fairly average perk, not as good as another perk that's similar to that, which we'll talk about later, but it's it's pretty good. Next we got Action Boy or Action Girl. This is another strong perk just because it simply decreases your action points for sprinting. So yeah, that may sound very simple and basic, but it can help a lot once you get to higher. Once you reach higher levels, you will start to notice how helpful this is. So next we got I don't know what this is called, moving target. Okay, so this is basically like the opposite of rooted, except well, it applies for sprinting. So 25 damage resistant, energy resistance when sprinting, 50 when sprinting, and then sprinting costs 50% of your action points. Wow, I never knew it was that much, but I think this can stack along with Action Boy, and I believe this may also stack with Endurance, which that also affects the power points from or action points from draining. So it might seem pretty good at first glance, but this only applies when sprinting. So you may want to take this perk if you're doing a melee build or if you're a shotgun or if you're doing a shotgun build. So I still think it's a good perk, but I'll just put it at average. Some people might think it's bad, but I think it's an okay perk. This can also be used if you're running away from enemies. But yeah. Next we got Ninja. This is another very good perk. I almost want to put it up here, but I think I'm gonna put it at the highest of the strong perks, just because. Just let's just have a look real quick. So 2.5 normal image and melee sneak attacks do 4 times normal damage. So really, this is just a perk you should always take overall, whether you're a melee or a rifle build or a gun build, whatever you prefer. But look at this last one, 10 times normal damage for melee attacks. That is huge. That's like I think there's a perk similar to this in Skyrim where for daggers you get increased sneak attack for daggers. I think I don't know. I don't know if it's the exact amount or if it's a little more or less, but very good perk. Honestly, very good perk. Next we got Quick Hands, or I think this is called Quick Hands, right? Yeah, so this is basically you reload faster. Very self-explanatory. Reloading guns costs zero. Yeah, costs no action points in VATS, and then you gain 10 additional action points. So at first glance, this might seem like a pretty good perk. Like no other perk can decrease your reload speed, but you do have weapon mods that can also decrease your reload speed, like Quick Mag, or I think it's called Quick Eject Mag, or something like that. And it's also not like you're playing like a fast-paced first-person PvP shooter. So really, you can just take cover and quickly reload. Not quickly reload, but I guess just reload while taking cover, and then just quickly pop out whenever you're ready to fire. So it's okay though. I'll put it I'll put it up here. Um this is a good perk. Blitz. So I'm gonna put this next to Rooted just because those two work well hand to hand. So what Blitz does is that it allows you to use VATS at a further distance when you're using melee weapons. And then once you get the second rank, I believe there's only 2 ranks, right? Yeah, so further the Blitz distance, the greater the damage. So that's pretty awesome. You can if you get these two together, you can do increased damage while staying still, and also get increased damage when you're far away when using VATS. So, like I said earlier, when you use VATS, you stand completely still. So like why shouldn't you get those two? Like both important perks. And finally, we got Gung Fu. This is another very good perk. Also a very top tier perk. So I'm gonna put this next to Concentrated Fire just because they're both top tier perks. Actually, all of these are top tier perks. These 4 right here, but yeah, this is very good if you're being overwhelmed by multiple enemies. You can just quickly use VATS and then just do a ton of damage from each enemy. And I believe in the last rank you gain. Let's see. So the first rank is 25% more damage to your second target and beyond, 50% to your third target and beyond, and then critical hit against your fourth target and beyond. Wow, that is awesome. So I am working on getting Gunfu for this character, as you can see, but very good perk. So now we are done with the action. Or why did I say action? Agility perks. Sorry. We're in the home stretch. All we got left is the luck perks, and I can finally upload this video. I don't know how long this video is gonna be, but oh well. So So what luck does, that increases the amount of, increases the meter you get from each shot in VATS. So pretty good, pretty good for an offensive VATS build. All right, so first we got, what is it, Fortune Finder. Let's see what it does, because I never take this perk ever. All right. So you find more bottle caps and containers, even more, even more. I like how these two are literally the same exact sentence. Kind of funny. You find even more. That's also the same sentence with the second and third rank. Oh my god. There's also a chance enemies explode after killing them. Shower of caps when you kill them. So that may sound very cool, but you can already get so many caps just by doing quests or by persuading your, I don't know, the NPCs, the quest givers and whatnot to give you more caps. So there's just better alternatives. You can also take freaking pickpocket and just sell everything you pick up. So unfortunately, I had to go with useless just because there are a lot of better options. This one, actually, I think I should put this below. Yeah, I'm gonna put it right next to Vans. Okay. So next we got Scrounger. This is basically it functions similar to Cap Collector or Fortune Finder, whatever it's called, except it now applies to ammunition. So let's take a look here. So find more ammunition in containers, even more, even more. I love how they reuse the same sentence. It's funny. And there's a chance to gain ammo when firing the last round in your clips. So this can come in clutch if you're very low on ammo. So I do think this is a little bit better than Fortune Finder just because some ammo can be very rare to find, such as gamma rounds or 308 rounds, 44 rounds. So even if you do find ammo that you don't need, you can still sell it for even more money. So I think I'm gonna put this a little bit higher than pickpocket. Um, yeah, fairly good perk. I don't take this ever because I much rather have a high charisma build, but this can also be a good alternative if you have a low charisma build because ammo can be very expensive. So yeah, next we got Bloody Mess, and just like I explained earlier in my Lady Killer points, you get 5% increased damage all across the board for every single weapon. No penalties there, no downsides, just pure damage bonus. So I don't see why you wouldn't want to get this perk. Um, I'm gonna put this lower than the other weapon perks, just because 5% isn't as much compared to like 20% damage, but it's still nice to have if you want to increase your DPS out point, even if it's just a little bit. Um, and then the last perk, you also gain a chance to explode your enemies and can also deal area damage to other enemies around it. So that may be useful, but a lot of enemies are going to be kind of separate, a little bit spread out. So it may not be super useful. I'm not sure, but yeah. Next we got what's it called? Mystery something mysterious stranger. Yeah. So who is he? Why does he help? Who cares? The mysterious stranger will appear occasionally in VATS to lend a hand with deadly efficiency. So this can be good if you're going against tougher enemies. My man can come in clutch and absolutely demolish anything. I don't know if it's like an insta kill or if it just does like 1,000 damage per shot. I don't know, but appears more often when he kills an opponent. There's a chance your critical meter gets filled. So wow, pretty good perk. Better than I thought. So I don't know. I might start working into this perk later, but really not too bad of a perk. There are a little bit of better options, which I will go over later. But it's a pretty solid perk. I'll put it in average, just because he can come in clutch, and the chance of filling your critical meter is also always nice to have. All right, so here is the last of the overtune perks. So we got Idiot Savant, and I'm gonna put this at the very top. Like, I just want you to take a look at my level 76. This is just from me getting Idiot Savant. Where is it? Right here. This is just from me getting Idiot Savant and just resetting my save right before completing the quest. So very exploitable perk. You can get times 3 XP, times 5 XP, and then the last perk, I mean, it's okay. You don't have to get this perk, but it can help a little bit. So, and by the way, the lower the intelligence, the greater the chance. So you could run a low intelligence build, which is kind of what I did here. And if you have the Party Boy perk, you can just lower your intelligence and have your chances increased even further. So that's what I do every time. And as you can see, it works very well. Oh man, I love breaking the game. But yeah, very good perk. So next we got better criticals. This is another very solid perk. I might even put this a little bit higher than Ninja, or a little bit below Ninja, just because it's always nice to have extra damage when you're trying to finish off an enemy or when you're going against tougher enemies. Always nice to have. Next we got Critical Banker. Again, another very solid perk. You can save an extra critical just by filling it up. Very good perk. Yeah, I believe you can save up to 4 extra. Yeah, save 4 critical hits. So again, a very useful perk. I don't know why I went to. Nah, whatever. Okay, next we got Grim Reaper Sprint. Another fairly solid perk. Honestly, all these perks go well together if you use them in combination. So this one is basically the same thing as Mysterious Stranger. It can fill up your critical meter, except it always does it after you kill someone, of course, but there's just a much higher chance. So if you stack this with Mysterious Stranger, it can do a lot for you. Um, so you can fill your action points, fill your critical meter. Really, why not get this perk? Next, we got Four Leaf Clover, another very good perk. This one might be. This one, that's. I'll put it a little bit lower than Critical Banker. Actually, I might put this one higher than. Uh, yeah, I think that's good. Um, Basically, every shot has a chance to fill your critical meter. Wow, I know. I sound very redundant just saying these, but trust me, they all function a little bit differently. So like this one increases, it restores all action points and refills your critical meter. At least in the last rank, it does that. So I think this one even. Oh no, in the third rank it saves an additional critical. Okay. So yeah, that can be useful. And does this one only affect? This one affects the last 2 criticals or the last 2 ranks, filling your critical meter. Okay. But this one just does it all the time, so fairly self-explanatory perk. And finally, I guess I'll quickly look at Ricochet here, since I don't ever take this perk. What goes around comes around. The enemy's ranged attack will sometimes ricochet back and instantly kill them. The closer you are to death, the higher the chance. So this is just another clutch perk, kind of like Nerd Rage, but I don't. It's not that great. um, the last perk, okay. The last perk doesn't seem too bad, but there's already so many other perks that do that. So honestly, you really don't need Ricochet. You can just. I'd rather just go up to 9 luck and get 4 leaf clover, Grim Reaper sprint. Really, any other luck perk besides Fortune Finder, but I guess this one is okay. Um, but I'll put this. I might put this one at the highest of the niche perks. Okay, I think that is every single perk. Wow. Um, yeah, I am very tired. My throat hurts, so I'm gonna end it here. Hopefully, y'all enjoy this video, and I don't know. I might do another video like this soon. Maybe another tier list of the freaking perks in Skyrim. Who knows? Who knows? But I'm gonna go get some water. I will see you all next time. Peace.